Welcome everyone to Strangest Species, Season 3, Episode 2. Your host Mike Davis here with co-host Anthony Davis.
Hello, hello.
And we are once again filming ahead of time or recording ahead of time because life's busy. This is the busiest time of the year for us. These next, right in the middle of 3 weeks of insanity.
Yeah, it always seems as though these things that you have to plan really far in advance, like family reunions and these youth camps that happen on the yearly, always piggyback on each other. And there's this coalescing crazy 2-3 weeks. And then after that, it's like everything that ever was supposed to happen in the summer happens in those 3 weeks, and then it's just nothing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to matter when they are. Like, they weren't at the same time last year, but they still somehow piggybacked on each other again. If I had the ideal situation, I would totally do one of them and then have a break, and then do another one and have a break.
Yeah, that makes sense, but that is not the reality.
That is not this reality again this summer.
I was in Vegas this week with one of our sons.
I drove up to Canada and back in one day.
You drove up to Canada. On your way back, I left for Vegas, so we didn't see each other. We didn't even
see each other.
I was in Vegas for 4 days. Mm-hmm. I got back. Our other son had a soccer tournament. So I went straight from the airport to the game.
Crazy cold weather.
Yeah. It was 110 in Vegas. It's about 60 here, and rainy and windy. Ugh. So you were nice enough to bring me some clothes.
Yep.
Because I only had sandals and...
Yeah. I mean, hot weather stuff.
So it's Sunday now. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow you leave.
Yep.
For...
Youth camp.
As a
youth camp leader.
As a leader. Mm-hmm. And then on Wednesday I leave. For a different youth camp.
Yep.
And then we meet up at the same youth camp on Thursday.
Yep.
And then we come home at 11 o'clock. And then we leave Friday morning at 7 o'clock.
For Canada.
For 10 days.
Yep.
Or so.
Yep. Family reunion. And then we're also doing 2 national parks.
Yeah. And then we're back. And then for you and I, life slows down a little bit.
Yeah.
Our other daughter goes right to another camp.
Yeah.
Right
and
afterwards.
Also starts her new job.
And starts a job.
Yeah.
And the boys have some soccer camps and things.
Yeah, but that's still pretty. They're half
and
days, and this is compared to all of this, it's very minor.
Yes, indeed.
So, but we'll have and then after Canada and the 2 national parks, we do not come home. We go straight to our camper, and we do 4th of July celebrations with a bunch of other family and friends, and it's all awesome, wonderful things, and I'm not complaining about them. They just, for some reason, chain after each other, and then
it kind of always happens somewhat in that regard, because we always go to Canada for Canada Day, which is July 1st.
Well, we don't always. We used to when Grandma was alive.
Well, we pretty much always do. This is usually the time we're up there.
Yeah, it wasn't last year though.
And then we shoot back for the 4th.
Crazy. Right.
So that's always busy, but you're right. I
feel like I haven't been to Canada for Canada Day in the last 2 years. But anyway, the youth camps.
Piggying on we didn't choose those dates.
And then we have another family reunion towards the end of July.
That we're in charge of.
Yes, that we're in charge of. And then after that, it really, truly is chill. I have nothing, trip, big trip going anywhere. We'll have visitors, and we'll have...
We have one trip.
In August?
We've got a couple small trips.
And we have some concerts. Oh, we have to go to Seattle. I guess,
California.
That's not in August.
No, but I'm saying, still in the summer,
Yeah. I mean, those are different still. This is
It's true, they are different.
So much planning. So much preparation. Anyway, we'll get through it. It'll be wonderful.
Yep. It's all good.
I'm stretched.
You're stretched.
Yeah.
But this is the worst of it right here.
Mm-hmm. Right here.
Actually, today and tomorrow literally are.
Yeah. Crunch time.
Getting everything packed.
There's only so many
2 trips simultaneously.
Kind of 3. But there's only so many things you can do in advance, right? You have to mow the lawn right before you go when you're gone that long, because if you do it 5 days in advance, it doesn't help. You're already too long situation, little things like that. So anyway, I have prepped as much as I possibly could pre-hand, but there's just crunch time things, and that's just the reality of it.
So true.
I feel like it's not trip anxiety. It's just trip.
No, you're not anxious about the trips. It's just busy.
Yeah,
Getting
but
ready
it's
for
like
'em.
trip stress maybe. I don't know. I just kind of am like, I just feel like a robot.
Well, we ain't going to make no money this month. I'm not working that good.
Uh-oh.
So that's all good things, though.
Yeah, but yep, that's true. It is good things. So, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Enough
so-
about us. Who cares?
Yeah. So true. Stop lamenting.
I am not lamenting.
That was a generalized to me too.
Hmm.
So, what do you think we're talking about? What does today feel like?
Today we're going to talk about neat creations that people have made.
That would be cool. I was just in Vegas. I saw all sorts of creations.
Well, that's what we're going to talk
So I was at a conference, staying in Caesar's Palace. That's where the conference was. Whenever you go to these things, your room, it's
kind
part of it.
Part of it, yeah.
And so Caesar's Palace is amazing.
Have I ever stayed there?
No.
No, okay. I didn't think so.
It's not as the Bellagio is my favorite,
Oh,
but Caesar's Palace is very, very nice. So, and then last night, our son and I went and we stayed one night in Circus, and it was
Night and day different.
night and day different. Like complete. Like you open the door to Caesar's Palace, and you're just like hit with this wall of like perfume, and it just smells amazing, and everything's so gaudy and big and artistic. Caesar's Palace is like the trailer park, or not Caesar's Palace, Circus.
No, but you said it was like Chuck E. Cheese for adults kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. But like Chuck E. Cheese from 1988.
Hmm.
Like our Chuck E. Cheese here is pretty nice. Like they've redone it all, and this is like the old Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Like the carpet's all furled, and there was a homeless person inside with their dog sleeping in a corner. And it just, it was. So, with that said, our son loved it. It was his favorite. Like, he thought it was way better than Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
I definitely did not. He woke me up at like 6 in the morning. He's like, "Dad, you hear that?" And there was someone banging on the door, screaming obscenities. He's like, "Someone's trying to get in our room." But it wasn't our room. It was the room next door to us. But it sounded like it was right there in our room. And anyways, it was
Wonderful.
It was wonderful. Good times.
Good times.
But he loved it.
Okay, but you were going somewhere with the invention part.
Oh, yeah. There's just you just see lots of, we watched like 40 episodes of Shark Tank.
Uh-huh. That's
now
all
he
about
wants-
people with our inventions,
Yeah, now
right?
He wants to invent something and go on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
He's got a couple good ideas.
Okay.
So, and he's that kid that doesn't understand. No, he'll just do it. Like, yeah, why not?
He'll
I love it.
attempt anyway.
So,
Was I right?
no, not right.
Darn it. Someday I'm going to be right.
Yeah, but that was a good one.
Thank
Maybe
you.
someday we'll do that.
Yeah, well, I won't guess
No,
it again
today
probably.
We're going to talk about floods.
Like we're literally having one outside our backyard.
It's raining very well. Not right this second. It was raining
It
very
still
hard.
is raining, but not hard.
So,
Which is normally just fine. But
yeah.
our house is being painted. So all of our, not gutters, but the part where the gutter drips down. The downspouts.
Are all removed currently.
Currently, so that you can paint around them and get it. And there's this one spot that it wants to pool right along our house. And there's already been water damage in that area. Seems as though they've sealed it up pretty tight but it was bad. And so we were trying to prevent
It's
it
like someone was pouring a fire hose.
Yeah.
At the foundation of the house.
of the house. I was just like, if this goes on
He was
very
in
long.
pajamas, and
I had
was half
just,
naked
yes,
outside in the freezing cold, trying
just
to
gotten into my cozies.
jimmy rig some kind of piping system to divert the water away from the house.
We
did.
We did. We figured it out. It's Oh, it's foolproof. It's about as good as our air conditioning unit.
Oh, that thing's amazing.
We should check on it.
Yeah, I checked on it the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Um,
Our air conditioner is
so old.
the heat pump. I don't know how old it is. We replaced the furnace a few years ago, but the AC unit is 30, 40 years old.
Yeah.
And the condensation pan inside the unit leaks.
Yeah.
And so about 3 years ago, I totally jimmy rigged a system using a shop vac end, like the nozzle, big wide nozzle, into a Costco peanut butter filled pretzels container.
With a straw.
And then halfway up, I bored a hole in it, put a straw in, and sealed that so it was waterproof. And that drains into another place that goes into an actual drain. And it's been rolling for like 3 years this way.
We've been waiting for this thing. This heat pump sounds like it's going to die. We've been waiting for it to die since we've moved into this house. And it still hasn't. And
But this is one of my most amazing things ever.
Good thing it's all behind closed doors in a storage room where no one gets to see it and enjoy it but us.
But it's
It
awesome.
is awesome is the right word. Yeah, talking about inventing things. That
This
is
pretty sweet.
This is a great invention. But our jimmy rig of our downspout, this particular spot, is incredible.
Luckily, it only has to make it for the night.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about floods today, but we're going to talk about floods of, well, have you ever been in a flood?
Yes. Yeah, I do remember having to sandbag a bunch of places, not like ours, but like as service to help out neighbors and friends. The High River, it's called High River in southern Alberta, south of Calgary, was flooding.
She's still in southern Alberta.
Well, but it's not southern
Right.
Alberta, but it's south of Calgary. And so we had to do a bunch of sandbags there to help protect a bunch of houses and buildings and churches and stuff. And then, not a flood, but like a typhoon
Well, typhoon
In
would definitely
Japan.
bring a flood.
where it's like sort of like flash flooding, like not a slow rising river with
Right.
like, that kind of flooding, but like, you do a bunch of stuff to kind of protect against, I don't know. They're pretty prepared in Japan though. They're pretty meticulous about stuff and like special coverings on their windows or whatever. Yeah. It's a typhoon. Is that the one in Japan? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, tsunami's also in Japan.
Oh,
different.
but that's like a huge wave from the ocean,
Right.
right? Yeah, no, this is a typhoon.
Typhoon's like a tropical storm.
Yeah, but it's
That
like
causes. Yeah.
tons of precipitation in a short amount of time.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been in one of those. And it did cause some flooding in some places. But I'm trying to think, maybe that's about it. I know you have been not really in a flood, but in a hurricane,
Yeah, kinda
which
the
then
same as
causes
you there.
flooding. So
So I was living on the beach of Honduras when Katrina came through,
yeah.
and we were up to about our waist in water.
Nasty, disgusting water
A lot of dead
That's that.
animals and stuff. Yeah,
and excrements.
a lot of excrement. Yes,
Are you going to tell them about your foot
I got a really bad foot.
infection from
Yeah, swelled up like a
sausage?
hot dog that's been cooked too long. Starts
Not even a
bursting.
hot dog, but like a
Yeah,
bratwurst.
like a bratwurst. Starts popping.
Ugh,
Yeah, that's what my foot looked like.
that's so gross.
But so we're going to talk about floods today. A couple different floods,
Okay.
but these are not floods of water. They are floods of other things.
I don't even know what that means.
I know.
Don't floods
Isn't
only mean
that
water?
Intriguing.
I mean,
Aren't you so strangified?
I am so strangified. I'm still damp, but I was kind of hot. So I was like, oh, I might as well put this on. And now I'm like, I got really wet out there.
I'm so hot right now. In
Yeah.
This room.
You should put on my wet shirt.
Yeah. That would be helpful.
So, or take off your hoodie.
I could do that.
Yeah.
It was chilly earlier when I was
I know.
wet,
When
but
you were,
now this room is very warm.
yeah, it is.
So we're going to start in October 17th, 1814.
I feel like that's a long time ago.
The Great London Beer Flood.
I mean, you can't see my face, but my head's turned sideways like a dog when they hear a weird noise. Like, I'm trying to imagine what would precipitate a beer flood.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So good of a question, I'm going to answer it. Real quick, before I answer it. So, as I mentioned, I was in Vegas this week. We are trying to pre-record a few episodes because of our hectic schedule, which we talked about. This is the first time that I've ever not really known much about this. So I'm kind of like coming into this quasi-blind. I have looked at this, but I haven't like written this out.
Okay.
So if it's a little choppy, or if I also seem surprised by some of the stuff, that's why. Because I did this in Caesar's Palace in bed, but didn't spend a whole lot of time doing it.
Not as much time as you normally do.
Correct.
Okay.
So, Great London Beer Flood. This is on Tottenham Court Road in London, England.
Tottenham or Tatum?
Tottenham. Tottenham Court Road. So the Mew and Company Brewery in the heart of London. Everyone's going about, brewing their beer, doing their thing. And they have these massive vats of beer at this brewery. Well, I assume every brewery has giant vats of beer.
I would assume so.
This one contained, or these vats each held about 135,000 gallons of beer.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
I have no idea how huge that is.
Well,
how much was in our pool?
In our pool was 18,000 gallons.
Okay, well, that would be really good. Or really big then.
I mean, that's huge. You said 35,000?
135,000.
135. Oh my
I think
gosh.
that's what I said. Yeah, 135,000. Sorry, I'm opening up a pool chart.
Yeah, so ours was 18,000. It was a huge pool, and that was a lot of water.
Okay, so if you have a 50 by 30 foot pool, which is massive.
That is huge.
That's the biggest one on this chart. That is 5 feet deep. That's only 56,000 gallons.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is huge.
Huge.
This is like 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
I can't actually envision what you would be, like a silo. Like you would be putting it in a silo size, like huge. Is that how it normally works? It's like really that big?
I don't know.
I don't either. Okay.
The only time I've ever been to a brewery, they're all microbreweries.
Right, they're all local
micro
and
means smaller, right?
Right, they're all local, and like even our friends have their own
In Columbus, we would
winery.
always drive past that giant Anheuser-Busch plant, and it was, I mean, like it was huge.
Huge, yeah.
But I've never been inside of it.
Yeah, me either. So, okay.
So anyways, there was, for some reason, one of them ruptured.
Wow.
In these vats.
Yikes. That's terrifying.
And then it set off like this domino effect, breaking all of the other vats.
Oh, no. How many vats do they have?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were saying like 4 or something. But I might have just made that up in my head.
I just know there was multiple. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
So it's like one broke, and then you can like push over dominoes. So this created a 10-foot high wave of beer came rushing down the streets of London.
Okay, just for a second here. I'm assuming there's a lot of casualties?
There's some casualties.
Because within the facility, in and of itself, I would imagine you're in an enclosed space, right?
Yeah, I don't know if these vats are outside or...
Yeah, maybe I'm picturing it. I'm picturing like a huge warehouse with these huge vats inside and people working inside this warehouse. So then... when these rupture, and it's kind of the domino effect, I mean, maybe some people could get out. And obviously, like, a warehouse isn't meant to, like, hold liquid. At the same time, though, it's only going to seep out so quickly. It's like you're in this warehouse of swimming pool of beer, which would be bad.
Sounds less than ideal.
So then, let alone once it gets out and then goes down this street, like you were saying, with a 10-foot wave.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's inside a building, if it's outside a building. All I know is it created this 10-foot wave.
Yeah.
Rushing through the
Like
streets.
a beer tsunami.
Demolishing walls, knocking people over, taking people out.
Yeah.
It was in a slummy area known as St. Giles.
I don't know, but
No, me either. The only slummy area I know is Whitechapel.
oh, is Whitechapel sounds nice.
Yeah, it's where Jack the Ripper worked.
Oh. Mm. I mean, it just sounds nice, like white.
Yeah, a lot of prostitution and serial killers. So it's not great, but
it just doesn't.
Nice name,
on paper, it sounds like it should be fancy.
it does sound very fancy. Less
you know
fancy
who
in
would
real
know
life.
would be Sonia's parents. They
Yeah.
would know. Oh yeah.
Oh, right.
So,
About St. Giles.
yes. I mean, I'm sure
Are they Londoners?
one of them is. One of them is not, but I don't remember which one. So
in total, 8 people died.
that's
Of
actually
record.
less.
But there's also a slummy area.
But-
So, like, do we really trust that?
They
was
counted
accurate, you know?
Yeah, but that's actually better than I was going to be guessing.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, if you said, 10-foot wide.
So how far do you think that many gallons of beer went? Like there's this wall, right? Or wave, I guess, of beer. But I mean, how far does that
So
carry?
let's say you put 5 or 6 Olympic-sized swimming pools above you in the air.
Oh.
And then you let the water out.
Yeah.
So it was going to go pretty far.
Yeah, it's going to go. And then
Now it's going to get dissipated pretty dang fast as far as its height.
does everyone drink? Does everyone drink it?
Yeah.
Does everyone get drunk?
Well, so they definitely were pulling bodies from cellars and stuff. I think that's where most people died. If you're down in a basement or
Yeah.
close by. But yes, there were lots of people that brought pots out and were just trying to fill up pots.
But it would be all dirty and nasty.
This is London in the 1800s. There's not a more dirty place on the face of the planet. You can eat the fog.
Okay, well, I guess.
Don't you remember our poop cruise story? Not poop cruise, but the
Yeah.
ship that sank in the
I remember.
Thames. Yeah.
They're doing a documentary on it.
No, that's the actual poop cruise. The one I'm talking about is the one that sank on the Thames River under all the sludge.
Yeah.
Not the Carnival one down in the Caribbean that lost power and turned into the poop cruise. That's the one they're doing the documentary.
Oh, okay. I actually thought when we were calling the poop cruise that we were talking about the one on the Thames. I didn't realize it was the
No, the Carnival
actual.
one.
Okay.
So, there was that. I also have a story though from there
About the beer?
Well, a person who survived.
Oh.
So when the vat exploded, there was a worker that was cleaning out barrels in a cellar down below. And the tidal wave rushed in, just crashing down the stairs, which would be terrifying. Working in a pub and all of a sudden this wave of beer just comes pouring down the stairs. So he was knocked out, or not knocked out, he was knocked over and pushed. But luckily he was able to grab essentially an empty keg and hold on to it and rode a raft until it finally subsided.
Wow. That would be just, it's in the moment you're just reacting, right? But then when
totally.
your brain starts
And you
putting,
wouldn't have any clue what was going on. You'd be
Yes.
so shocked.
so confused and you're putting all these pieces together, you're like, wait, this is beer. It smells, this is so,
and you're probably thinking
what is going on?
you're in a pub.
Yeah.
What's happening upstairs? Where's all this beer coming from? So,
It would take a while to process. In the moment, you're just trying to save yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
The
So that's
flood of
flood number
beer.
1.
Okay. Oh, now I'm curious of what other kind of floods we could have.
And now we're going to Boston, January 5th, 1919.
Boston.
Boston, Massachusetts.
I can never say that state right, so I don't even try.
We got a storage tank holding 2.3 million gallons. So our last one was 135,000 gallons. This is 2.3 million gallons
Okay.
of what?
Milk.
Molasses.
Why in the earth do you need that big of a storage
I don't like
container of
molasses.
molasses?
There's very few things in this world I don't like.
But I mean,
Molasses is one of them.
okay, so livestock are the only thing I can think of that I don't know why you would ever need that much molasses in your whole
I
life.
feel like back in the day, molasses was a super common thing.
This was in 1919.
Mhm.
Maybe it was more common back then as a form of sweetener, right? But the only thing I know is my uncle, if he had old hay that the cows kind of didn't seem all that excited about. It's hard to explain. I mean, if that seems weird, they eat hay every day, but then they're like, oh, this stuff's not as good. It's like the lower part of the stalk, the not as flavorful. He would like push it back, and maybe once a week, he would like get all the old hay, and then he would drizzle this molasses, I don't know, livestock safe concoction. I mean, I don't know if it was straight molasses. I don't know. All over this, and the cows are like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, gravy. So obviously using a lot of baked goods, drinks, sauces, sweeteners. It did replace, or was oftentimes used instead of sugar.
Yeah.
But also it is a main ingredient in making rum.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, maybe people listening, I guess alcohol is not a big scene for me. So I feel like maybe people listening will be like, oh, of course it's for rum. But I don't know.
I don't know either. So anyways, we had 135,000 gallons, making a 10-foot high wall of beer. This is 2.3 million gallons. Guess how high the tidal wave was of molasses that came roaring down the street?
The thing is, isn't molasses really viscous?
Very viscous.
So it's not really going to roll that fast. I mean, I feel like everyone could get out of the way.
So this came in at 35 miles an hour.
Whoa.
There was, you weren't getting out of the way.
How? It must have been a very thin molasses, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
That just seems inconceivable.
I am not a molasses expert.
Yeah, I mean, that's fast. Okay, the weight, you're wondering how the wall,
How tall is the wall of molasses?
I'm going 20.
25.
Oh my
Can you imagine seeing a wall of 25?
Well, the thing is, you
Those
couldn't
2.5 stories coming at you.
You couldn't swim in that. You couldn't get yourself up. Like that would be terrible.
It would be. So obviously, yes, it's very sticky goo.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, because it's so viscous, it packs a punch, right?
Yeah.
So it just took buildings out
And
as
people.
it hit, and people. And
Oh my goodness.
so surprisingly, only killed 21,
Wow.
but over 150 others injured.
Oh my gosh.
So it lifted trains off tracks.
Oh, I'm sure.
And rescuers couldn't get to people because it was so sticky.
Yeah. How do you even?
It's just gross. I hate being sticky.
But you can't float a boat in it.
Nope.
Like there's literally no way to help people.
Yeah. So
Maybe by a helicopter kind of hovering above, and you like.
yeah, I don't know how many helicopters were around in 1919.
Well, I feel like. No?
No.
1919 wasn't that long ago.
There's no helicopters in World War One.
No, there's not. You're right. And World War I ended then, right? Yeah. Okay, never mind. It just doesn't seem like that long ago, but
It isn't. It's amazing how far we've come in
in 150 years.
September 14th, 1939.
Okay. So
was
I'm
the
like
first
20
time a
years early.
helicopter flew.
Because the first Ford wasn't the first Ford right around
Yeah.
like
It was a little earlier than
1919.
this. We're probably talking like 1906 or so, I think.
Oh, okay. So the
There were
car
cars in
was
Downton
around.
Abbey. Pre-World War One.
Oh gosh. Barely though.
Barely. What's his name dies.
I know.
Spoiler alert.
Michael.
If you haven't seen Downton Abbey a decade and a half after it came out.
I think after a decade and a half, I think you're probably allowed to do spoiler alerts, and it's kind of on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just did. I agree.
Michael was his name? No, that's not right.
Oh, no.
Matthew.
Matthew. He's a good guy.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's the only one that would put up with Mary.
Yeah, it's true.
Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah. So it took months to clean up.
Oh, you would just pray for rain, I think, to kind of like
Yeah. Dilute it.
It would like clog your sewer. Well, they probably don't even have sewer systems. I don't even know now if they didn't have.
It had some kind of sewer back then.
Okay. Well, anyway,
But
I just don't.
and anyways,
wanna
residents
know.
said for decades, if it got real hot, it would smell like molasses.
Oh, I bet.
It's probably all seeped into
Everything.
walls and in between walls, stuff you can't see.
I
but,
kind of like molasses.
No.
Yeah, like the flavor and the
There's
smell.
something about when I lived in Belize, they use a lot of molasses and it
in
just I don't
in the
know,
food or something.
Not in the food. Well, in certain foods.
Maybe to sweeten things.
But you just smell it all the time. I don't know. I just didn't.
Hmm.
Not in Belize City. This is out in when I lived out in the mountains.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know. Just not my thing.
Well, that's okay.
So there was so here's a survivor story. Antonio D'Estacio
Ooh,
10-year-old kid.
Oh.
So him and his sister were playing near the tank when it broke. And he got trapped in a collapsed building. He was covered from the neck down in molasses and was pinned under some beams. But rescuers heard him and dug him out, surprisingly, about 3 hours.
Wow.
And he says he never, ever liked sweets again
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
That sounds so gross. To be stuck in.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's not something you can really protect yourself against. I mean, how do you get out of it? Do you just, yeah. Ugh, yuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I am just shocked at what could be next.
We're going to Lisbon, Portugal, 1988.
Okay.
What do you think could be happening in Portugal?
Some sort of chemical.
It's kind of, this is technically a chemical, but not a chemical like you're thinking.
Oh.
So there's a warehouse collapsed during heavy rains.
Whoa. There must have been really heavy rains.
And this warehouse was holding...
Wait, what year did you say? Or you do not say?
1988.
Okay.
140,000 gallons of vintage wine.
Oh, that sucks.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
So the streets of Lisbon literally flowed red with wine.
Oh my goodness. I bet people did the same thing, like collected it.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I'm
Ran out with
sure.
their pots and pans. This is the greatest day ever.
Oh my god.
No one died at this one.
It would smell a lot better than molasses and beer.
But here's the interesting thing.
Everyone got stained.
It stained
Everything.
super bad, yeah.
Yeah, because you use wine to dye things back. Yeah.
And it was red wine, so
That's awesome.
yes.
Tie-dye.
Lots of staining.
Yep.
So everyone survived there.
That's
But
good
let's
news.
see.
I bet that costs, I almost wonder if there's a report on how much, because vintage wine, obviously, it's all about the time, right?
Yeah.
How much that actually costs the business, you know what I mean? To
Well,
have that.
Sure, it cost the insurance company
Right, like,
millions, I would guess.
yeah. But I mean, are you covered for something like that?
I don't know, because you're covered by a lot of things, but if it's an act of God,
right, the
then-
rain, sometimes insurance companies are
don't.
terrible and they're like,
Yeah.
Anyway.
So there's an elderly woman who was inside of a shop when the wine flood hit the shop, collapsed the door and trapped her inside as the wine came pouring in. So she climbed onto a barrel of wine corks
And floated away.
and floated.
Wait, are you being serious?
Nope. And waited. And the firefighters actually came and broke a second-story window and pulled her out as she was bobbing around on her cork barrel.
Wait, are you being serious right now?
Yeah.
That is really a great story. That's hilarious.
She was probably also very stained.
Okay. I mean, how is she conveniently in a place where there's all these corks?
I think you're in Portugal. Like every other store is a wine store.
Oh,
so.
well, maybe.
I don't know.
That's really funny.
Okay, we're going to Russia.
Russia.
2017.
Oh, that's really recent.
Yes. So what could be in Russia?
Russia. Nacho cheese.
That'd be funny.
I'm trying to think of something weird, but also
No, it's a great guess.
viscousy, but probably not in Russia. Is it edible?
Yes.
Soda.
Yes.
Really?
Sort of. Pretty much. Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
So PepsiCo,
No way.
but
in
not
Russia?
but not Pepsi as you would buy it, but Pepsi concentrate.
Oh,
So it's very almost like molasses, a very thick,
Yes,
viscous syrup that they dilute down into Pepsi.
Yeah, with the carbonation.
Yeah.
water.
So this was 7.4 million gallons, 28 million liters.
Did it freeze? Or what happened?
I don't know on this one.
I mean, I know they get cold winters, right?
Right.
So I wonder what could be the cause of
Let's see if we
Pepsi
can
syrup.
find something.
It's kind of hysterical. That would be so sweet if that got on you. I mean, because it's concentrated. Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
It was a collapse of a warehouse as well.
Just a straight.
The roof collapsed unexpectedly, and yeah, it's just bad
Like bad.
building codes.
Oof. Yikes. That's a big mistake, man.
Yeah, so nobody died.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. But the streets and cars and everything nearby were covered in this super thick, syrupy nastiness.
Nastiness. I would assume it would like ruin a car if it
Right?
covered, you know?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Significant environmental damage. It got into one of the rivers there and turned the river into Pepsi.
Very flat Pepsi.
Yeah.
No
that's
carbonation to that one.
true. But yeah, it took weeks and weeks to clean up. So that's fine. So we have a factory worker.
Mm-hmm.
He actually tried to shut off some of the valves to keep the syrup from entering a nearby water source.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So he had to wade through like knee deep Pepsi concentrate to get to this valve.
Oh, wow.
And he kept like slipping and choking. And he almost passed out from all the fumes. Like these gross.
Really, I never really thought about the fumes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pepsi fumes. And it was just so sticky, he could barely move. But he got there. He did turn the valve off.
Oh, good.
So he saved some stuff. But he did later say that he can still smell it in his dreams.
Oh,
like
I
it's so
bet.
ingrained.
It would be so gross. And it would be so strong.
Yeah.
Just the smell and the... Ugh, gross.
That's no fun.
No. But at least no one died.
That's true. All right, we're going back to England, back in the 1800s.
I like that.
England does all their good floods. They've done them already.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've
So
taken the
we're
cake.
going to Lincolnshire.
Lincolnshire. I feel like the Shire at the end.
Hmm.
Means I need to be a hobbit.
So this one, I'll say this: we're going back to one of our other episodes
Oh.
to see if you can pull some knowledge from that episode.
Okay.
So this one was a giant tannery cesspit that broke.
Ew. Pee? Like fermented old pee?
Yeah, raw human and animal waste.
Oh. Wait, that's a thing?
I guess so.
Like on that scale?
I guess so.
Why?
You're a big industrial tanner. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Maybe you were making like leather jackets or
Maybe
something?
just making lots.
Yeah.
Probably making like cool Letterman jackets for the students.
Yeah, that's what they were doing for sure.
Would be my guess.
Wow, that's so gross. Ugh.
Yeah. So it killed 2 people who died by drowning in manure.
Ew, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's
It's a terrible way to go.
a terrible way to go.
I mean, drowning would be terrible.
But
Drowning in
like
red wine. Okay.
fermented urine, or not even fermented, what's the right word? Like stagnant old, like it gets kind of thick
You
and
can't even like breathe.
ugh,
Yeah.
that's so gross.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. Like local papers described it as a reeking tide of horror.
Oh, that's sad. Okay, this was back in London, right?
It was in Lincolnshire. I don't know where
Lincolnshire.
Lincolnshire is.
Did it say what happened?
It broke.
Well, wow. Thank you for that. That was
I
inspiring.
think it was poor engineering.
Again, gosh, don't cut corners, people. Don't cut corners. You might drown in some weird, what? Weird excrement, not excrements, weird, I don't know
I
what.
don't know either. So there was a local stable boy that was working in stables near the tannery cesspit when he heard this crazy gurgling noise and ran out just as the pit wall gave way. And he was swept away in the channel of raw waste.
Ew, is he one of the ones that passed away?
No, these are survivors.
Oh, wow.
So he held his breath and actually was able to grab the edge of a hay cart and not continue with the wave of fecal matter and pee and whatever.
Ugh.
So he did crawl out, obviously covered in all sorts of junk, collapsed
had
in
like
the street.
infections all over him.
Villagers thought he was dead until he started spitting out mouthfuls of manure.
Oh.
And
This is disgusting.
yes, it is disgusting.
But he lived?
But he lives.
Oh my god.
Well, at least that day. I mean, he probably got, some disease and died.
Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't.
A few weeks later.
Oh. That's
I mean, he's
so
not
gross.
still alive now. Just to be clear.
Yes, I was very concerned about that.
But
Actually, I just listened to this cute book and she was 101. And I just got to thinking, like,
that's real old.
that's really old. And she had been a slave. And
Sounds cute.
it was really good. It was a really good story. But I just wanted to see this cute little 101-year-old lady. So maybe he is still alive. What year did you say it was?
1876.
No, that's okay, that's way too long.
About 150?
Yeah, that's way too long.
149?
That's not really a thing. Okay.
Yeah, probably not. But
I couldn't remember when you had said. I thought it was a little bit like later than that. And I was like, well, maybe he could be like 110, but
all right. Next one. Go to Germany.
Germany. Chocolate.
Chocolate.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I bet that was amazing.
Willy Wonka style.
I would be
So,
running out into the street and scooping that up with everything I had.
So it was a storage tank at the Dry Master Chocolate Factory.
Oh, what?
So it poured out liquid chocolate into the streets.
Actually, that
Like
would
Willy
probably
Wonka.
be very hot, though.
Well, it would be very hot
Right?
coming out of
Coming
whatever
out, and then it
stuff.
would start hardening.
But it got cold weather came in and
Yeah.
it all hardened and
Oh.
created a solid chocolate crust everywhere.
There's like people stuck in there, like in the hard crusted chocolate, like help me.
Eat your way out. It's like the greatest kids book ever.
That actually really would be the funniest story.
Like Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs meets Willy Wonka.
That's so fun.
meets
So do
Mount
you know
Vesuvius.
what happened? I know you're like it broke, but I mean, is there a
Yeah, I don't know why. A storage tank, like I said,
just
broke, but I don't know what specifically.
yikes? That's a fun one.
I was
Did anyone
very
die
limited.
by chocolate?
No, not really any real injuries even.
Wow.
But the residents very much were bothered by the smell of it.
Why?
I don't know, really pure chocolate.
Kind of has a bitter.
Like even the M&M store in Vegas, I don't really like the smell of it.
Yeah.
And I don't
It's
even
pretty
know why.
strong.
'Cause
No, it's just
not
a
even any real
strong-
chocolate in it. Like
That's
like a
true.
chocolate
It's
factory.
probably the candy coating shell that you're not liking the smell of.
Could be.
Yeah. But wow, to die by chocolate. If anyone had died, that's so far
Yeah,
by far
drowning
the
by
best.
chocolate would be better than drowning by manure.
Yeah, that's the best way to go.
But the firefighters had to. Oh, excuse me.
Wait, the tanners just use. It's not manure, is it? Isn't
Well-
it just pee?
They use pee to tan the leather, but this was a big cesspit at a big tannery, so it was full of all sorts of
all
stuff.
sorts of stuff. I get
Yeah.
it. I missed that part. I thought it was just like old urine, but even had. So my uncle's farm growing up had this exact thing. Did you ever go to the farm?
Yes.
Do you remember seeing the lake of poo?
No.
Yes.
I, in general, try to stay away from lakes of poo.
Yeah. So my whole life going there.
You go like paddleboarding on it and stuff?
No, my uncle was like, stay away. If I see you over there, you're in so much trouble. And you do what he says. I mean, you do not mess around with that man. So
Yeah, most people who purposely have a lake of poo, I wouldn't mess around with.
yeah, I think he didn't want anyone anywhere near. We're talking within 20, 30 feet. Because if you slipped in you can't really swim in it. It was just, I honestly want to say somehow it had relation to like the hosing down of the milking barn. It like drained into this spot.
Field, and it just...
And eventually it would kind of just, I don't know. They never emptied it. I think it just kind of went out into
You
the,
wonder why dairy farms smell bad.
probably because they oftentimes have lots of cows and they poop a lot. Yeah, there's just definitely a smell.
Oh, that was being facetious. I know exactly why they smell bad.
Yeah, but it would like in the hot weather, it would like crust over on the top.
Yummy.
But then underneath it would be, so we were so like into it, we'd want to throw rocks like far away, stay far away, but like see if you could have a heavy enough rock that it would break through the crust and like,
Ooh,
yeah.
poor rocks.
I mean, they don't know any different.
That's what
They
you
still
think.
stayed alive. They're just, anyway.
It reminds me of Labyrinth.
Oh yeah, that burping.
What do they call
no,
it? Yeah, the farting.
farting swamp.
Yeah.
That was the freaking weirdest movie
Oh.
of all time.
So Lincoln and I, so he's watching Shark Tank every night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we go to Circus Circus, and it's a different cable setup. Like he knew Channel 17, there's Shark Tank on all night every night.
Gosh.
But we get to Circus Circus, and it's all different channels.
No.
And so we're just channel surfing, and we came on.
Was Labyrinth
No,
seriously on?
Dark Crystal.
Oh.
So I was like, Lincoln, this is Dark Crystal. He's like, yeah, that looks weird.
Oh
Now
my
keep going. Find me Shark Tank.
I think I still have trauma from seeing that movie. Literally.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Me and you have very different,
That's why we never watch movies.
like,
Because I'm like, hey,
What
you want to
is-
watch a movie? And you're like, that sounds terrible. And you're like, you want to watch this movie? I'm like, that sounds so boring.
what is great about that movie?
One, it's got some really cool Bowie songs. Well, at least one really good Bowie song.
Oh my gosh.
The one Bowie song about the baby, that was a weird Bowie song.
Bowie, he has many weird songs, Michael.
Well, sure. I just like anything that's super weird and out there. And like every scene, you're just like, what is happening?
But you like this.
I love it.
Why?
I don't know. It's intriguing.
Oh my gosh. It was like this Return to Oz. I was like, how did you
Yeah.
even finish this movie? Literally after 5 minutes, I would have turned it off because I would have been so weirded out and like almost bugged by it.
Yeah, the kids need to watch that one next.
I think they'll have nightmares, literally.
They might.
Like, not obviously the older ones, but like, I really actually don't know if I want them to. It is so weird.
So weird.
Okay.
Agreed. Watch out for the wheelers.
Okay, so Germany, chocolate, nobody
Yeah.
died.
No one died.
And it started getting hard.
Hardened.
And then people just like chiseled away chocolate
So yeah,
for
no,
weeks.
for real. The firefighters had to chisel and like bring blowtorches and like melt it, to get it.
Did people
gone.
just have freezers full of frozen, delicious chocolate for their whole
I
lives?
hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I hope so.
And that's like cool. Okay.
It is cool. So there was a firefighter there who was part of the cleanup crew
Yes.
that ended up like melting some of the chocolate, but then it rehardened. And while trying to clean up, she slipped and fell and was stuck for a few moments in the hard chocolate.
Weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then it took about 15 minutes for other firefighters to reheat it up and melt it enough for her to get out.
It's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah.
Is there pictures of this?
I don't know.
Oh my
That
gosh.
sounds like I'm just going to eat my way out here.
Yeah, you sound like I feel Willy Wonka-esque.
I know.
You know?
So great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Veruca Salt.
Last one.
Yeah.
Colfax, California, 2012.
Colfax, California. Don't we have a Colfax here? Actually, I feel like that's very familiar.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is. Okay. Have you ever been there?
Yes, I have.
Where is it? Like central?
It's on the way to Pullman, about halfway between here and Pullman.
Colfax.
We stopped there on the way to our family reunion 2 years ago. We got lunch at the grocery store.
Yeah.
It's also where St. Al's Insane Asylum, like the haunted insane asylum that you can
that's
spend the
where
night.
haunted house mansion thing.
Not haunted house,
Haunted
asylum that you can spend the night in.
Literally, do you spend the night in like the asylum?
Yeah.
People want to do this?
I want to do this.
You want to do this?
Vienna and I and Lincoln want to do this.
Oh, yeah. I will happily hang out with the little boys. Yeah. I want nothing to do with that. I don't even want to see it, to be honest.
But you can't see it from the highway.
I don't even
So.
want to see it. So, you know.
Fair.
You would, okay. Do they have nice comfy beds? It's like hotel
No,
style?
it's like, paint peeling off the walls. And
Like you would sleep in a bed that a patient would sleep in, like have the full experience?
I don't think you sleep there. I think you're like exploring all night and stuff.
So you don't actually sleep at all.
Right. Yeah, there's no like.
There's people that pay money to do that?
Yes. Weirdos.
Yeah.
I would do it. I don't know if I'd want to be all there all night. I don't like not sleeping.
Oh,
but I would love to go
gosh.
like from, 9 to 2 in the morning or something and roam around.
Terrible. Like, terrible. That sounds like my worst. I would rather stand in this freezing cold rain right now,
Well,
all
right
night
now
long.
That sounds wonderful. I'm very hot.
No, but all night long.
Yeah, no, I'd much rather do that than stand in the cold rain.
Not me.
So, and this is why you and I can't watch movies together.
We do. We watch movies together. We've watched lots of good shows together.
Yeah,
I mean, over the course of our 20 years, which really is not a lot,
Yeah.
but enough.
Yeah, we watched Dungeons and Dragons.
I fell asleep.
Like
In,
5
like,
minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
So I'm like, it doesn't matter what movie I pick.
No,
Yes,
that's not true. Okay, we watched all of 24 together.
Well, sure. I mean, we have successfully watched some things. You are correct.
Yeah. Some Seinfeld.
Yep.
Yeah. So don't even.
No, not even.
But you're right. I did fall asleep like so fast. And actually, I feel like I could do that at any minute that I actually just sit down. I'm so tired. So anyway.
Right. Going back to Colfax, California.
Colfax.
2012.
25. Is it not chocolate? Is it something we've had before?
Nope.
Ooh, I know what it is. I know what it is. Do you want me to tell you?
That would be helpful, yes.
Ketchup.
Close. Again. Not ketchup.
Oh.
Tomato paste.
I mean, it's almost the same.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's
But-
close.
Tomato paste is so thick, like you can take it out of the can and it would hold its shape. So I really don't think it would move.
Well, it's moving because it was in a truck carrying 50,000 pounds of it.
50,000 pounds?
Yeah.
But not like in little cans.
Nah, I think it was like a big, like one of those like almost like milk trucks.
Weird. Wait,
But
tomato
tomato paste.
sauce?
Paste. It says paste.
It's so thick though.
Wait, let me tell you. The PASTE. That's supposed paste, right?
Okay,
That's not how you spell
smart
sauce.
Alec. Fine. I just can't envision that this would be like even a thing. It would just like a blob of jelly, like a giant. It would just sit there. No?
Yeah, so this wasn't like a tidal wave.
Okay.
So this was less of a flood, I guess. A little bit of a misnomer. It was just a big mess. The truck crashed and it spilled its 50,000 pounds of tomato paste.
Gross.
And if you were like a squirrel, it'd be a flood.
That's true. That's true.
But surprisingly, extremely slick.
Yeah, that makes
It was
sense.
like driving on ice.
Oh, I bet. I mean, that makes sense.
Caused multiple accidents.
Oh, dang. That's too bad. Oof. But nobody died or people did die?
I don't think anyone died.
Oh, gosh. Man, such a weird thing to have. I just keep thinking, why? Like, why would you have that in a truck when it's not like a bunch of cans of tomato paste? You know what I mean?
I very much know what you mean because I was thinking the same thing.
Because if you are having a warehouse that is making a bunch of tomato paste, why are you then going to fill it in another huge like container to transport that? Why not put it in its appropriate, packaging there, unless all they do is make it and then someone was shipping it like to the warehouse to then get processed, like packaged.
Canned.
Yeah, it just seems like, I mean, the things that go on in these trucks that you're like looking around thinking like, what is in that truck or what is in this truck? I would never in my life ever guess that's got to be tomato paste.
Yeah, to my knowledge, I've never seen a tomato paste truck either.
Yeah. Or
So-
even that seems like it could hold that much, but I guess maybe just one of those big square semi-truck, cabs can actually hold that much. What you said the number, do you remember?
50,000 pounds.
50,000. And it's weird. It's obviously thick enough that they do it by pounds and not as though it is a liquid,
Right.
like gallons or whatever.
25,000 tons of tomato paste.
That's lots.
Yeah.
That's gross. Okay. Well, ketchup would have been better anyway.
Probably less dangerous.
I don't know.
I don't think you would hydroplane on ketchup
no,
as
I
much
think
as...
you're right. It would still be thin enough, like viscous enough that it wouldn't be. But anyway. Okay.
So
Sorry.
next time the kids go on the slip and slide, we should put tomato paste on it. See if it...
Too complicated. Yeah. No. Too complicated.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, that's all I got.
Okay.
I don't know of any other crazy floods. Besides water.
I mean, yeah, my brain never even went to floods of any other things. But I was really hoping that there was a flood of, like, lemonade. I just feel like, that would be right.
Well, I'm going to Google it real fast.
A lemonade flood?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Lemonade. A flood. First thing that came up, cheapest flood insurance plans.
That's funny. No, my guess is that there isn't a lemonade flood.
Does lemonade cover? Oh, Lemonade is an insurance company.
Oh.
So I'm getting lots of stuff about Lemonade insurance reviews.
Oh, weird.
Do they cover flooding?
We're like, we didn't even know that they were a company.
I've never heard of Lemonade insurance.
It's actually kind of a cute name. Not really for insurance, but it's a cute name.
Yeah, if you're selling like infant clothes.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Anywho.
those are all kind of some good flood, in quotations.
Some of them are real floods.
Yeah, no, for sure they are.
Yeah.
Some are ones you've never really thought about, like a flood of molasses. That would be very complicated. Because you can't.
That sounds so gross.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the cesspit of poop and pee is the worst, but
Right.
molasses is way up there in second place.
Yeah, and it would be so complicated to get yourself out and to save people. And yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Gross.
Yeah, gross is right.
I made that big vat of homemade root beer. Remember that
Yeah.
a couple years ago? I spent like $50 on all these different, like, raw roots.
That's
Like
the
the
most
actual wooden chunks.
Yes. And you're supposed to
And
let
then you're
it
supposed,
ferment.
yeah, and then you're supposed to
add
put
the
in.
sweetener.
It called for molasses, and I was like, I don't want to use molasses because I don't like molasses. But I didn't know what else to do. I'm not an expert. Like, what else can you
Right.
exchange it for? How much? So I was like, I'm just going to follow it. Oh, it was gross. It ruined it, man.
Well, I think maybe the homemade, like organic root beer that you were going for was like the earthy, real, true, like.
Yeah, all it
'Cause you
did was
said-
taste like molasses.
Well, it'd be like, but fermented molasses would be like more alcohol-y, like an old school, super old school root beer. You know, the one that you can make where it's like dry ice and
Yeah, that's
licorice
cheating.
root. Oh, it's so good though, or not licorice root, but it's so
Anise.
yummy. Anise, thank you.
I had actual licorice root. And
Oh,
all these crazy chunks of wood, man.
And what was our fermentation stuff? It was the molasses, right? That's what
Yeah.
was supposed to ferment.
Yeah,
was-
the yeast eats it.
Yeah.
Releases.
So it was disgusting. It was like medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, that was our first dabbling in fermentation, and it's a science, man. It is a real science. So maybe we should try again.
Yeah. You gotta be careful. Unless you're trying to make beer, I guess. Then you have to be less careful. But if you're trying to make root beer, you gotta cut that fermentation off
Way
at
short.
the right time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. So,
Lame.
well, anyway,
Lame.
lame. You did spend a lot of money. Those the
But I
most
did-
expensive,
I
most
did-
disgusting.
Use all my roots.
Oh, you did on
and I
other.
made like
like a yummy tea.
cold herbal tea out
That
of
was
it.
good. Everyone.
And that was good.
Yeah.
But not what I was going for.
Right. Well, cool.
Yeah.
So glad we didn't have a flood of that though.
Me too.
Yeah. Or any.
But it would be better than a lot of these things.
Yeah. Or any flood, really.
It's true. I don't want floods.
Yeah. So, anyway, speaking of floods, it's raining outside.
It is raining.
We should go check our contraption.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds. I don't want to check it because if it's not working, then I have to take care of it.
Yeah. Better to just let it flood our
Just
house.
assume it's doing its job.
Okay. Sounds good.
Alrighty, everybody. Have a wonderful couple weeks, and we will be back. Take care. Bye.
Goodbye.